What's up guys, Grasshopper here with another Overwatch video. In an FPS game like Overwatch, positioning is critically important to how well you can play. When you're correctly positioned, you will be in a good spot to avoid enemy damage while dishing out your own. This is a skill that can be easily improved by anyone, unlike accuracy, which takes a lot of time and practice. After this video, you should have a better idea of where to stand during team fights in Overwatch. Now let's get right into it. Choosing where to fight depends on a ton of variables. What map is it? Are you attacking or defending? What hero are you playing? And which heroes are the enemies playing? This is why positioning is a case-by-case basis, but there are some tips that work most of the time. I'm going to go over the basic positioning pointers for tanks, DPS, and supports, and then I'll try to go over some live examples on certain maps later. For tank heroes, you are the ones that control the space on the battlefield. You need to shield your team from the enemy's DPS damage while giving your own DPS enough space and sightlines to return damage. Of course, you're going to want to stand in front of your team so any shield will protect them, but depending on the tank you're running, you might be more mobile. A mobile tank has less shielding because of their mobility, so your team won't be able to do damage behind your barrier for as long. Never stand in the choke as any tank, ever. If you're attacking, you move your team through the chokes as fast as possible. Reinhardt, Orisa, Zarya, and Roadhog can't get to the high ground easily, so staying around the objective is your best bet for bringing value to your team. Focus on doing damage to the enemy frontline or any enemy that is out of position. Use walls and objects to avoid damage from enemies when there's no shield to stand behind. Obviously, set up on the high ground between fights if possible and tell your team to join you. Mobile tanks like Winston, Wrecking Ball, and D.Va can get to the high ground quickly, but have less shielding, so you need to use the high ground and other cover to avoid damage. Mobile tanks also do better at attacking the enemy backline before returning to their own backline. To finish off tanks, you can usually position wherever because of the shields or movement abilities, but the healers on your team need to be able to see you to keep you up, and the tanks need to protect their team at all times. Don't get caught out. Let's go over positioning for support heroes quickly before the DPS heroes. So first off, supports should never be on the front line, and they need to prioritize high ground, just like DPS heroes. As a support, you always need some kind of cover between you and the enemies, and focus on healing your team before ever trying to do damage. Wherever you decide to set up, make sure you can always see your teammates to heal them, and if you can't see them, let them know, or move towards them. Support heroes have a hard time reaching the high ground because they have to take the stairs, except for Lucio and Mercy, so try to set up on it and only drop down when you really need to. Ana and Zenyatta are vulnerable to being dove by the enemies, but they have ranged healing, so they should be playing as far back as possible with some cover nearby. Moira and Mercy have some mobility options to escape trouble, but they do little damage, so always stay behind walls where you can see and heal your team, but can't be focused by enemies. Lucio and Brigitte are brawl-type healers that should fight alongside their tanks. Brig also has her own cover with her shield, so she's extra tanky, but Lucio can wall ride away from the enemies that dive him. I'll show some examples of spots to stay in as a support in a little bit. Finally, we have the DPS heroes. This is the largest hero category, so there's a lot of different positioning cases. Again, there's the basics like don't stand in the choke or out in the open, and try to take the high ground when you can. If you have movement abilities, you can be more aggressive until the ability is on cooldown. Fight near your tank to use the space they create for you and protect them if they start getting focused. By fight near your tank, I don't mean right next to your tank, unless you're like Reaper or a brawl type hero like Brig. Otherwise, a DPS hero should be at their range. So whatever range they are, mid-range, long range, but where you can see your tank to protect him. Always have cover next to you that you can duck behind when damage starts coming in. Make sure your healers can see you and watch your flanks for enemy DPS. If you are a flanker and can flank, go for it, but once you're found out, you might want to regroup with your team. As a DPS, sometimes you'll be away from your team or healers, so you need to know where the health packs are at all times. When peeking around cover to deal damage, only move out as far as you need to so the whole enemy team can't focus you. Play at your effective range as well. Snipers should be as far back as possible or try for a sneaky flank, but only for a short time. Flankers need to get up close to the enemies, but the element of surprise is key. The mid-range DPS should stay near their healers or on high ground and should deal damage to any enemies attacking your tanks or healers up close. Now let's move into some live examples where I'll show you the wrong and right positions to take, starting with DPS. Alright guys, so we're going to go over the defensive positioning on King's Row. But I'm on Lucio just so I can easily get to the high ground. We're going to start off with DPS heroes. Now if you're defending on King's Row, DPS heroes, usually you should stay right up here. You can see down into the choke. What you don't want to be is sniped from this window, so if there's anyone in this window, like Widow, Hanzo, anything, you should not stand here. Otherwise, if they don't have a long-range sniper like that, you can stand here and shoot down in the choke, or you can just go over here and you can shoot into the choke from here. That's a good spot for DPS heroes, because, I mean, you're on the high ground or whatever, so you'd be safe. Once the enemies get onto point, you can rotate around to here, up through that hallway. So you can even stand in that window, but you can fire down from here into the choke. I mean, this window right here is a good spot to see, like, everything. Basically, you just don't want to be close to the enemies where they can cut you off. Some people like to hold over here when they're defending, but, like, the problem with this spot is to get back to your team, you have to run, like, out in the middle. Like, even if you run from over here, you just be caught out and killed, so you probably don't want to go there if you're defending. You definitely don't want to hold anywhere on the ground around here as a DPS hero. You'll get murdered. Right here is a good spot. I mean, a tank should be standing right here. The DPS, you can stand all the way back here. Like, this is a good spot right here too, by this doorway, because then you can just fall back into here as safety, and you can even wrap around over to this gateway. If they do push onto the point and you're still on the low ground here, just fight from here, or you can even rotate back into the hotel. Maybe even try to flank them a little bit once they're on point. If they're coming through choke, this is the choke. Don't stand in that choke ever. But if you're a DPS hero, you could stand here, like if you're a Junkrat, where you have a trap here and you're kind of safe. You just shoot there and spam into the choke, and that gives you an option to fall back to your team. Let's also go over the healers now for first point of here. Healers should stand right about, back here, anywhere as far back. I mean, your team should be standing like right here and not really go past that. If your team starts moving up, you should come here as like an Ana. I'm just gonna say like Ana and Zen. Like you should stay this far back. Lucio would be up with the tanks, but Ana Zen, you can stay here with like the DPS. This whole area, basically watch everyone. I would say stay on the low ground just because if your team does move up out of your sight, you need to be able to go get them. Otherwise, if you're like Ana Zen, you could be like up in these windows, maybe even that high ground, but that's kind of dangerous. Moira would be like right around this corner. You don't want to take unnecessary damage, so do not peek that choke unless you're like an Ana or Zen that can do damage from that far away. Mercy would, again, just stand right here. But that's first point. Tanks, of course, right here. Just right here. Honestly, right here. Hold this. As soon as they start pushing in, the enemies could be coming over there or over here. You can just put a shield like right here, so you have this cover to fall back to. If you're Orisa, just put a shield here. Reinhardt, just hold it here. Your team has room to shoot at them. You can even try holding over here, but if they have a bunch of spam, they'll just break your shield a lot. But yeah, just hold here. Even if you're a monkey, if you're a Winston, like a diva, you can like come up here, use this as cover, and shoot down on the team as they're coming through, and then jump away and get back to your team. Like wait, heal up, and then dive back in as they're pushing in. Stuff like that. Roadhog, just stay right here. Zarya, you'll fight right next to your main tank, but you guys get the idea. Like, just you don't want to be over here anywhere. It's like you're just taking unnecessary damage. Unless your whole team has like a strategy they're running where you can go back into here and wrap around when you get in trouble. Otherwise, you're just taking a bunch of damage and dying. But that's first point. Let's move on to the next point. So, this is Streets phase, so, really anything goes. DPS heroes, you can stand up here, do some damage. Tanks, you should probably, on defense, stand right here, shield here, and then, all these corners are really good spots to hold, because you just have a shield out here, and then you have this corner to fall back to. Watch out for enemies going up there. Another good spot, you could stand here as a tank, but you really just want to, keep falling back. Eventually you want to win a fight, but, you can fall back into here for a big health pack. Right here, you don't want to fight unless you kill the whole team and you can somehow spawn trap them in this choke. You don't want to hold this close. But if you can hold this close, like if their whole team's coming back from spawn, they don't really vaults, you could hold right here and use this cover, or hold like right here in the bookshop kind of thing and just keep spamming at them. But probably not a good idea. Just be ready to fall back at any time. This is like the final point for Streets. So again, just hold around this corner, do damage at them, watch up there for DPS heroes, and then just keep this cover on you. Same thing, DPS heroes, you're going to be, for this final point here, you should just stand like right here, because you can watch all these angles. Use the shield, of course, but you got cover here. They're shooting from over there. They're coming behind you. You got all this. You got these long angles you can take. Hold right here against this corner, shoot down into them. You could go up there if you're like a Hanzo or Widowmaker. You can definitely go up here because no one can really get to you. I would say hold all the way back here so you can peek out and maybe not get shot from over there as well. The DPS heroes, you would hold here first, or hold, or hold anywhere. Even right here, this is a good spot. It's if your shield should be right there, so you can just shoot from here for free. Watch that window, or you can hold up in here. Some people don't like to do this. I don't know why. This is a really good spot just to shoot them as they come through this whole way. If you have a tank right there, you're fine. Or you even drop down, hold over here, hold the shields up, and then fall back. Wrap around. So there's a lot of stuff to do. Just don't take unnecessary damage. It's basic stuff. The final point, honestly, tanks should only hold them right here. Hold this corner again, unless you can spawn trap them. Then of course you can move up, but be ready to fall back. And then another good spot to hold would be right around here, maybe even here. Just don't make sure not to take spam damage to this window, these two doors or whatever. Hold right here, or even if someone takes in this window, if someone goes in this window, tanks can hold right here, and have a shield up right here, and then DPS can stand in here or back up there. Actually, the healers would definitely. This is a good spot for healers because you can see everything, and if the shield's right there, you're fine. So some people don't like to hold right here, but honestly, this is probably your best bet. like hold the enemies off. You have to hold back here. They have so much room to work with that if you move back here, tank should stand like right here to hold it, maybe even over here if someone goes up top, so the shield's up here. DPS heroes, if you can, go up there to defend, because I mean it's a really good spot. Like you get to see everything. You could even move up here, but this is like a flank. This is like if there's no way they can touch you kind of thing. Winston and D.Va tanks will really like these high grounds for defending or attacking. Just stay up here. You can do damage to everyone on the ground. You got access. You can go through there. Just all that stuff. Healers though, for this final point, I mean just stand near your spawn doors. Like honestly, that's like almost all defending maps. Just stay back here. You can see like Ana can see her whole team from back here on the scope. You can just heal everything. She can shoot up there. Zen, same thing. Mercy, you'll have to stand a little closer, like right here, or Moira. Stay right here. Brigitte, you will be with the tanks. Lucio will be with the tanks. But that's final point. For attacking on King's Row, of course, tanks are going to go in first. Let your tanks go in first. So we're going to start with tanks. You can either, like Reinhardt or Rissa, you could go this way if you really want to and like fight them head on because they're probably going to be set up right there. But that's probably not a good idea. I put a shield down here first, or if you're Reinhardt, just hold it, and then go around to the right side of the statue, and then set up right here so your DPS have some good angles to take some shots. The DPS can also go up here, go around back, come up here, and do damage from up here, or even jump over onto the statue where they have like some cover and they can do fire. Sometimes you can go through the hotel. Like if you're a Roadhog, you could go on a cheeky flank right here, try to hook someone, try to go all the way around, pull like a healer or something, or DPS. This is where the flanker DPS should probably go through here, unless they have a Junkrat. If they have a Junkrat and you're a flanker DPS, you want to go all the way around this way. Just make your way to the back and go around to the other side. I just fucking fell. Alright, but you would go over to the other side. Again, tanks from here, just push on to point, honestly, and just hold space right here. That pushes the enemy. So if you have teammates going through the hotel, it pushes the enemies right here. Like this is all they would go. And I mean, I don't know if you see it, but that's a choke where you guys can just spam a bunch of damage and keep them off the point to kill them. But once you get to like here and you're a tank and you're holding it, your healers are with you. The healers should be probably back here. If I was healing, I'd be back. I'd stay back here, just out of line of sight if you have to, or even go like over here behind the car kind of thing, and just heal your team. If the enemy backs up to here, this is actually a really good spot for the enemies to hold unless you have spam damage, because they're kind of like on the point. So if you're an attacker and the enemy tries to just hold right here on the point in this corner, become a hard thing to dislodge, that's where you would have to go spam comp like Junkrat or Hanzo. But once you move on to second point for attackers, honestly, just move with the payload. I mean, again, use this cover. Like this cover right here is perfect to like heal up, charge a shield, stuff like that. Again, right here, this is cover, and then once you move around here, they're probably going to be like fighting you. So, try to move to this wall, so you have cover in here. You can fall back to a health pack. Any flanker DPS can go around this side. Try to take some shots at the enemies, or like Roadhog again. They can also go up top and same thing, just flank around. Then the tanks will move up to like here. Watch that side for any flanking enemies. Then when you get to this corner, obviously from here, you're just going to need your shield the whole time to push up and push the enemies back. That's what the tanks would do. If your shield is going down, come over here. You're like out of line of sight from most of their DPS and healers. Now let's go over the DPS. Actually, we'll do the healers now. So, since Streets is a long phase of just following, healers just stay on the payload. Zen or Ana, you just stay on the payload because you guys can push it. Just make sure to move forward to see your team when you can. Do shots. If you're a Mercy or Lucio, you should be up more. Just because you can, you have to be closer to your team to heal them. So again, like stay with the tanks. Brigitte, stay with the tanks. Now for DPS, again, you got flanker DPS that can go around that way, up there. I mean, snipers can stand. You can stand up here when you're pushing it. When the payload's like right here, you're trying to push it around the corner. Stay up in that window. Stay up in that ledge. If you are up in that window, you can easily come down this hallway, and you get long shots at like the enemy's healers and stuff. So even flankers, they can come up here and they can go around back. Or you can just go straight through here and take a shot on a healer. Like, bop, just kill him. Come to this roof if you want. Get behind the enemies. That's good for flankers and snipers. For DPS that need to stay with the team, again, just kind of stay on the payload. Use the payload as cover. Use your tanks as cover. Again, use these corners. Don't unnecessarily peek the enemies. You get the point at this. You get the idea at this point. For final point, just move up. Healers or long range DPS can go over here and fight from here once the payload's like come around the corner. Tanks will of course be in front of the payload. Have their shield up. Come over here to charge your shield for a bit or behind this wall. And then this is like the final fight where you just gotta look for picks. You gotta work together. Use the payload as cover because at this point the payload's gonna be like right here. So you have a payload as cover. So stay right up behind it, kind of thing. Like there's the payload. You're just gonna fight from behind it. Healers to stay back here. On the final fight, healers can even stand right here and just like heal their team from here. Just watch out for flankers, Or if you can get up there as a healer, like honestly only Mercy can do it. well, unless you have a Mei, or if you have a Sim teleporting you, this would be perfect spot for like an Honor Zen. But of course, just stay as far back as you can, use that room as cover, and then, push it in. DPS, follow your tank. That's all there is to it for King's Row. Overall, just remember the basics of high ground, using corners, being in a spot where you can see your team but not the enemies, and try to allow the fewest numbers of enemies to see you while you're dealing damage. Never overextend so you don't die unnecessarily, and you'll win a lot more games. Try to stick with your team even if they're positioned bad so you can help each other out, but always use team chat to suggest a better spot to stay. Finally, escape options are needed before you begin attacking the enemies. Try to think about where you can run away and have at least 2 plans in mind. Also, if you're the tank, make sure you tell your team where you're going to be backing up to once your shield is too low or the enemies are too close. They need to know where to go. And that's all I have for this video. I hope I made it clear how important positioning is. Do you think I missed anything? And what are your favorite positions on certain maps? Let me know down in the comments. Before I let you go, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe if you enjoyed it or learned something, because it really helps me out. And I'd also like to let you know that I stream almost daily on Twitch, Mixer, and here on YouTube, so give me a follow if you're interested. Well, that's enough plug-in for me. As always, I'm Grasshopper. Keep hopping.